All right. Um, anyone, anyone happen, and I'm so sorry, I haven't talked to you at all about.
Oh, no problem. Nope.
Um, does anyone happen to have either their phone to go to the website so I can see what the passcode is to dial in on? Hey, Scott.
Thanks for doing the minute. Oh, you're welcome. I think you're hired.
Not entered any numbers. Please re-enter your meeting ID followed by pound.
So it's. I meant to write it. Um, that, what did I do? Oh, left my pen over there. 6964449.
69644.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. That's the passcode. Okay, 811
Here.
8441 5385.
Towards the middle.
Okay. So now let me call that. So I'm calling into that for my phone to be the microphone as we've experienced in the past.
Your meeting ID followed by pound. Followed by pound. Otherwise, just press pound.
Yeah.
The computer is the other participant. um, oh, Tracy's in. Hey, Tracy.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Here's the trick. Just can you give me a sound check?
Check 1, check 2.
Thank you.
Here's minutes in case anybody has a question about something we discussed last year, so, but I don't intend to read it.
Perfect. Okay, Tracy, I'm putting you on mute.
Okay.
Right. Well, they may or they might.
Hello, folks on the Zoom. Are any of you residents or are you city officials?
Tracy Johnson, member of the board.
Kathy Engel, I'm with the City of Newport News.
Thank you. Carrie Francis?
Yes, I'm with the City of Newport News, the city manager's office.
Okay. And we'll need you to be, if you end up speaking, I'm going to need you to be patient because we're actually on a big soundboard here in the church, and we have to actually run the volume up while you're speaking and then run it back down so that there isn't feedback on the microphone. So there might be a slight delay coming in and out of speaking.
Okay, thank you. And I'm actually en route to the meeting, so I should be there within the next 10 minutes. This is Terry.
Very good. And Jason Sladen, are you a city person?
No, I'm a resident.
Oh, okay. Thank you. What's your address? Let me check you off on the membership rolls.
Yeah, 119 Mistletoe Drive.
Okay, very good. Oh yeah, yeah. Oh, did you send in a proxy?
No,
Okay.
I'm just listening.
Jason Sladen is on Zoom. I'm checking in with our registrar.
You're good. I couldn't get there in time tonight, so I figured I'd just check in on Zoom and listen in.
Okay. All right. And we'll be starting in a few minutes as we get settled here. Okay. Well, welcome everyone to, sorry, this is our microphone for the folks that are on Zoom. I have to carry it around and it's the microphone. Otherwise, the Zoom world doesn't hear any of what's going on here. It gets a little complicated because if the Zoom world wants to talk, we then have to raise the volume on the soundboard over there and I have to mute and then there's feedback and everything. So there'll be a delay when we're incorporating people from the ether world. Okay, so with that said, welcome to the 2025 annual meeting, basically covering 2024, but it's in January, so it's 2025, just to confuse everyone. we will start with a public forum. We have some good topics tonight, maybe, along with our usual reports from the city and any questions that you all might have for our city representatives that are here. And we certainly thank the city and the police department for attending tonight. And we have a couple of city representatives online that we'll have to sort out when they want to or need to speak. Sorry. And maybe Mr. Miller can sort all that out for us, but he can't see the Zoom screen, so probably not. All right. And CNU reps, of course. Thank you. And speaking of which, the next slide, please. All right. So our first representative, our first topic in the community forum tonight is CNU relations. And Alyssa.
So, sorry. Alyssa Reddy, Assistant Dean of Students at CNU. I forgot the whole microphone thing, and you just said it. Yeah, so this last semester, I actually was just doing numbers. Our behavior stuff was way down on campus, and we started, I think, what we typically see, a little more activity when it's warm. But I don't know, maybe this cold weather's helping. But yeah, we've done a lot of proactive stuff, which is, I think, helping too. And I think we're just seeing that, students that are kind of I don't know, they're receptive to the feedback we give them right now. So that's helpful. Let's keep it up. But yeah, I mean, I think in general, we've, just had our December graduation. Our students are coming back this weekend around the snow. I don't know that we'll hopefully be able to be fine. Sunday is when our residence halls open. So there'll be plenty of time to kind of get back. And then it's just honestly the spring semester. Our graduation is a week later than typical. So it ends up being in the end of May. And yeah, this cold weather will probably keep things kind of quiet. And then, please reach out to me in my office as the weather warms and as you see things, I'm happy to address them. I bring in every student. If we know that it's a student and I can identify that it's a student, I bring every single one of them into my office to talk through it. And I'll continue to do that. And I rarely see reoffenders after that. So, yeah, happy to talk through anything in particular, but yeah.
Any questions? Allow me to run with the microphone if you have any questions.
Barefoot from NMPD for the people on IT World out there. I've worked with her with CNU as a liaison, working with them. Anytime we've had a problem outside of campus as well, we've gone to the residents, we speak with the CNU students, and then we speak with the homeowner if it's that serious. And 9 times out of 10, they work with us with no problem, the students do. If they don't work with us for some reason, we have to go back. Then I get a hold of her, and I get a hold of her, and she goes through a different avenue with the CNU students, and they usually correct their behavior. So I just want to add that information. Thank you. Yes.
Thank you.
What is the method of communication if there is a problem with a student? In the past, we as residents have been told to call CNU police. Is that still the case, or who do we call?
All right. If it's an on-campus issue, it's CNU. Okay. If it's off campus, you can call us. You can still notify them. However, CNU police can do very little off campus at that point. They usually call NMPD, and I have a good working relationship with Captain Austin of CNU, and I work with him.
In the past, it was always call CNU.
Okay.
Off campus, that's changed.
Off campus, call NMPD, please.
Okay.
Thank you, and we look forward to hearing from more NMPD stuff at the end of the agenda of the forum tonight. Okay, anything else for Alyssa? And at the end of all this, we'll have a 10 or 15-minute break before we reconvene for the annual meeting of members, which is separate from this community forum. So you'll have a chance to talk and chat for a few minutes. Okay, thank you. City Manager's Department, Mr. Owen Miller.
Good evening. Good evening. Appreciate the invite to come on out tonight. John, you can't schedule this on a warmer night next to, but Appreciate everybody's time tonight. So obviously we've got most of the departments, I think they usually give a report out either here in the room with us tonight or joining us remotely. If you guys have questions, we'll do our best to respond tonight. But if we don't have the answers, we'll try to research that and come back to you, provide the answers to John in a follow-up conversation. I feel like a bit of a broken record because I've been attending this meeting. I think I'm back to y'all, but I've been attending this meeting for close to a decade now. And at least for the last few years, the answer's been very similar, which has been, it's been a relatively quiet semester. At least that's kind of the way I look at it. Relatively quiet year so far. I think, and I want to give credit to Alyssa and our friends with CNU, I think one of the things that seems to have really helped in that, I appreciate kind of that Good Neighbors program that you guys have done the last few years, connecting some of our staff with some of those students who potentially may be living in the community. I think that has certainly helped. We've also, I think, knock on wood, I think we've addressed some of the homes that have been long-term rentals that traditionally had some of the challenges. So they always pop up from time to time, and our staff go out and try to address them as the need arises. But overall, in terms of the city manager's office, it's been relatively quiet. That's not to say issues aren't there, and this is usually a meeting each year where there's a few that come up and try to report, take it back to our team and have them take a look at it and then get back to you guys with an answer. So looking forward to hearing anything you all have to share tonight, and then we'll certainly get on it and try to report back to y'all. So I appreciate that. At this point, I'll certainly stand for questions, or if we want to do the individual report outs from our departments, then we can collectively try to answer them as they appear.
Great, thank you. We'll check to see who's on the Zoom right now. Scott, could you go forward to slide 6, please? So slide 6, 6. There we go. So this is, there's a lag.
Where does it go?
So last year, one of the topics that the city presented was how to deal with Moore's Lane and Shoe. And one of the proposals was a traffic circle there. And then the easy, elegant solution was to paint away the extra land area at the intersection so that people didn't try to pass cars while they were stopped to turn, et cetera, creating blind spots and safety hazards. So I think it was in April, the city completed that work, and I haven't heard any problems with it. Does anyone have any feedback on the painting out of the intersection?
So people will still just blow right by it going around the edge there. It deters quite a bit, but there's still people who are just impatient and goes around it. It's not a big deal, but sometimes when I'm commuting in the morning, you can just see it. But so it's better than nothing, but there needs to be more of a physical barrier to de-incentivize it.
Okay.
I think a traffic circle would help the most to keep the flow of traffic smooth, and instead of everyone stopping to try to turn, and especially when you're coming from Moore's and you're at the stop sign and it's rush hour, it can be very hard to either go straight or to even turn onto Shoe, but a traffic circle would keep everybody moving.
Okay.
I think what this does is those people didn't know any better know now. And if they're the ones that are going to obey, okay, but the ones that knew better and were doing it anyway are still doing it. I've seen multiple people go just right on past through them. I think that the only solution to it like this is to put those little bump things here so that they hit, when they do go around it, they get a real jolt. And then they would know, oh, well, there's a consequence to my disobeying the rules. Anyway, that's my thoughts.
Well, I've been out here for a long time, 30 years living out here. Painting that was a good idea, but it's never, being MPD is never present there. It goes on. I ride around them all day long, up and down both those roads, Moore's Lane, Shoe. They do it all day long. They never stop doing it, but there's never any NMPD present there to write a ticket. I haven't seen a ticket written there. I haven't seen the ticket. I've never seen NMPD at that intersection writing a ticket.
involved in.
Like somebody going around that, yeah.
They're gonna hit, that guy's gonna go by 10 Boulevard, hit that guy making the left turn. It's gonna happen again.
Okay, so, well, what I was hoping for was a solution since last year, but apparently the community has kind of spoken and needs to be further addressed. And I don't know if we have traffic people, engineering people for the other traffic calming issue, and maybe when we get to them, they can comment on this. So are they,
Or John, I know we have engineering. Damaris is here tonight, so I know she's taking notes. I saw her scribbling away. So if I'm not sure we'll have an answer for you tonight, but we'll certainly take notes of that and take a look at it. So appreciate the feedback. It's always good to know kind of what the residents are thinking, and we'll continue to examine this issue as well as the other one I know we have on our agenda tonight.
Yeah. Yes.
A question. There are plenty of intersections where there are left turn lanes. And apparently that works at those intersections. Why would it not work at that intersection?
That was an added lane. Last year we had the 3 different proposals on the big screen, and I don't think a left turn lane was in one of the 3. It was so there might be a limit for it. Yeah, it's a physical constraint. Yeah. So before we move on to the other traffic calming issue and in engineering, I did want to point out that a couple of years in a row, the safety of cell coverage in the neighborhood came up at this meeting, and a solution is afoot. There are now 3 different 5G towers installed in the neighborhood. Pictures of that one is on the corner of Shoe and Paddock. The other one on the right is farther down Shoe Lane, and then there's another one on North Moores Lane. There are a couple of other permits in the system that have been approved for other 5G towers. I don't know anything about which brand resides on which tower. I did get a call a couple of weeks ago from a school board member who was concerned that Verizon still particularly had poor coverage in the neighborhood. So if there are any comments, there is progress, but I don't know, like the 2 other permits have been approved. I don't know why they haven't gone in yet.
Sorry, I don't know, John. I will certainly inquire about that, but no, I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't. So. All right, so back to slide 2, please.
Can I introduce some of my colleagues here as well? So first of all, just want to thank Councilman Long for joining us here tonight.
I'm actually a resident of so I'm a resident, so I'm doing double dipping.
And then I also wanted to take the opportunity for some time, it's been something that's been a priority for the city manager's office, but we only filled the position just this past year. We have opened up a neighborhood services office. The idea of trying to increase neighborhood capacity within the community, within our neighborhoods. And obviously, Riverside certainly has a robust community association. Not all of our neighborhoods are quite that lucky to have that. So our manager for the office, Terry Francis, is here tonight. You guys may see her. She'll certainly be a resource for this organization as well as plenty others, hopefully many more within the community moving forward. So ask her to come on out tonight and put a face with a name. So thank you.
Thank you. All right, did you have?
Yep.
All right.
He always steals my thunder. We're going to work on that over the. But I just want to say thank you all for what you do for your neighborhood and for the community. I hope that we can create more associations like this across the city. I think it brings value to our residents, but it also brings more value to the community. So I'm really excited to hear the information that's shared tonight, excited to learn from you all and hear how I can support you in this role, and just looking forward to being a part of the great work that you all are doing in your neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, I'm going to skip over engineering and traffic and jump to solid waste just to see if there's any feedback for the city on the very deliberate moving of the leaf pickup schedule by a full month, and if anybody has some opinions about how that went.
Parkway, and I'm just always frustrated by the leaf collection because it's so late, and we're not supposed to put the leaves out by the street until 1 week prior to the collection, but yet it's destroying our lawns in the meantime. So that's why we do it. We want to get it out there. But to get our neighborhood done, it's just sort of haphazard. There's several streets will be done and several won't be done. And it takes a long time. It doesn't seem very efficient. And I don't know if any of my neighbors are frustrated by it as well, but it's just, you see trucks going up and down, but it's just not very efficient. And that's what my frustration is. Just, we have a lot of trees in this neighborhood and we want to protect our lawns, and it's just a big job that just seems like it's not handled by the city very efficiently.
Is there someone, can somebody raise their hand on Zoom if they're from solid waste? Or we have someone. Never mind. We have them in person.
Yes, I'm Frank James. I'm the Director of Public Works, and I understand the latest frustration. What we're going to do going in the future, we're going to start, we'll always start in Area 1, then 2, and 3. Of course, Area 2 is this one here, and has always had the most leaves. Next year, we're going to start rotating it. So we're going to start in Area 2 first. Okay, so that would help as well, But again, with the snow coming, we are behind, and it'll probably be a week or so before boats start next week. Don't worry if you put it out early. We're not going to fight you for it. We just ask that you try to keep it as close to your time as possible. But again, we're not going to ding you because you put it out early. I realize that we can't get there as quick as we can, but we're trying to do the best that we can. Okay, so next year we're going to try to rotate areas. So we'll do Area 2 first, then maybe 3 and 1, and then maybe Area 3, and we'll see how that goes. Okay, but again, the leaves took a while before they came off, because it was really warm until the last couple of weeks. And then, all of them are down now. And again, we can't get to all of them at the same time. So we have a website that you can always go to, and it'll track and tell you where we are at any particular time. Okay, it might be a day off, but it won't be any more than that. So again, be patient with us, and we're going to try to get to you. And if you figure it's a hazard, just call 311, and we'll come address it at that moment. But again, we try to keep the schedule going so that we'll be in the same routine. Any other questions?
Thank you.
I think what she's trying to do is get the leaves off of the streets that have no curb and gutter on them, like Country Club, and get the side streets second. They've been getting the side streets where the leaves aren't on people's yards, and they pull them off the curb so it won't block the gutters. But her house and all the ones down Country Club are all laying in the ditches with no curb on top of the grass because they don't want to put them in the street.
Well,
That's
two other problems.
that's why I won't kill the grass on a lot of these. That's all.
It causes traffic problems was one thing, and it also causes storm drainage problems. So those are other effects of not getting those leaves out of the way just efficiently.
Like I said, I appreciate your addressing the issue by maybe doing Area 2 first because there's so many trees here, But I'm concerned with the fact that, we see a date where it's going to start, and for 40 years, they've been coming through 1, 2, and 3. And if you start mixing those areas up, and I see a date saying first pickup is December 20th, I'm going to, I have to investigate it to find out whether I'm 3 weeks off of that or 1 week or 2 weeks, which right now we've been doing it the same way forever. Except for we're doing it 2 weeks, 2 times a year now, and we used to do it three times a year.
But this year it moved by a month. Were you aware that it moved by a month? So did that word make it to you?
For the first time anyway. I always did one the second time.
Well, I know you can't hear me on this. This is the first year we made every 3 weeks. You only, one time we were just doing it 2 weeks and then we'd rotate. This time we made it 3 weeks, hoping that we can catch up a little bit more. So if you notice, we've been going 3 weeks this year. That's why it started so late. Because we started, I think around the first week of December. We started after Thanksgiving because people were saying, well, we have guests and all, and we didn't want to have a problem with Thanksgiving. So we did it a week after Thanksgiving, and then we pushed everything back 3 weeks at a time. So again, we're still trying to find the best way we can to make it more efficient. I know it's hard to say work with us, but that's why we want to hear your feedback, you know, because that's important. So we know how we can tailor it going forward, you know. So maybe there's a better way we can do it. And by getting feedback from the citizens, that helps us out.
Rain our trees better.
Yeah.
Or the weather, you know.
Eliminating leaf vacuuming, is that in the game plan to eliminate that? Because we've lost one pickup already. See, I mean, there used to be two, now there's one. Are we going to lose it all?
It's two. We cycle the city.
Well, yeah, it used to be three, now there's
Okay. Two, right.
Yeah, so we lost one is what I'm basically saying. And in the talk, I'm not a Facebook person, but the talk on Facebook is you plan to eliminate leaf pickup completely.
Well, we're looking at all options, and that may be an option, but we haven't done that yet, you know.
My next door neighbor put out their leaves in plastic bags.
Yes.
65 plastic bags just for one pickup. For one of the cycles, 65 bags.
Yeah, but if you bag it,
That's a possibility. I'm not
Right.
going to buy 65 bags.
sure, right. But if you bag them, we're going to pick them up every other week through your bulk pickup. So it's not like we're going to wait. If you bag it, it's going to be picked up every other week.
But if you eliminate vacuuming, that means it's forced upon all of us. Is that right? Plus, you're not recycling. Yeah, you're not recycling are you recycling the ones in plastic bags?
No,
They're going in the garbage pile, right?
they go to the landfill.
So we're hurting the environment by that approach.
So if I can say, if it was to be eliminated, it would go through the budget process, which would be council. And I have not ever thought about eliminating the leaf collection.
Well, why did we eliminate one pickup?
I can't talk about that because, I mean, I wasn't on council when I only remember only two pickups.
Well, this is the first year of the two pickups. So
it's not.
It's been several years.
It's been at least 5 to 10
Wow. Yeah,
It's been a while.
2 weeks. Always been 2 cycles. Oh, wow.
oh, he's been three of mine. So I don't know why it's been two.
Yeah.
I mean, I will say, Doc, I mean, right, it is a service that we know our residents enjoy. It is a service that we know is important to our residents. It is a very labor-intensive service as well. Hence why you see some of the delays, including as staff are doing other things. So it's always trying to manage those. That's probably why at some point they moved from 3 to 2 pickups. But it's been 2 for a while. And as I said, we hear every year how important a service is for our residents.
Right. Any other questions for Public Works? Which is different than traffic and so thank you very much. All right. Should we skip to codes compliance and save the traffic calming for last? Yes. Codes compliance, yes. Hey.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Montrez White. I'm one of the inspectors for the Department of Codes and Compliance. It's a pleasure to be here. I've worked this area before. This is not actually my area, but I have worked this area before. It's a lovely area. I really enjoyed meeting some of you while I was out and about doing inspections. So, but as far as I know, there are no property maintenance issues to report. So if anyone has any questions for me, I'd be glad to answer.
But this year, for the first time in 40 years, I got a notice from the city that my grass was too long, and that if it didn't tell me, in other words, and it was very rude. I mean, it was like, okay, your grass is too long. We're going to charge you to send somebody out there, blah, blah, blah. They didn't care to look that I'd been a resident there for 40 years, and it never happened. Okay, they didn't say, this is a notice. You need to cut your grass, and and my grass was cut before I even got the letter, you know. But it was not, it wasn't very city friendly the way it was handled in my mind. The notice wasn't very friendly, okay? And it was like, it wasn't very friendly. I mean, you know, the first notice to a city, you know, a person that had been living here since 1976 in my same home, you know, the first time I've ever had any kind of interaction in a negative way to be told in a harsh, less than, you know, I think our city is a friendly city, and this was not a friendly notice, you know, of having to take care of that. So I just thought that there may be some way a few words could be changed in it to make it less, less negative, and maybe you ought to check before you send out something ugly to somebody that, you know, hasn't done anything wrong before.
Those letters are all vetted through our city attorney. It has all of the jargon that is needed so that you understand what the violation is, what the code is, and what the penalties can be if you're not in compliance. So we try to make those letters as simple but matter of fact, so that you're not confused by anything that is being said as we're trying to move through the process. That's why all inspectors, including myself, our names, our telephone numbers, all our contact information are on there so that you can call us and speak to us. We don't write those letters. What we do is we look at the violation, we snap a picture, we put what the code, whether it's grass, trash, property maintenance issues of any kind, and we pop that in with the code. And then the system, which is our EnerGov system, it automatically spits that letter out. We don't even see the letter before it goes out. Yeah, but it's all part of the software. Right.
But I just.
Well, we do have
We're going to send somebody else.
right, because the way the code reads, for grass, and that is just for grass, we only send one letter for the entire cut year. Anytime that grass, after we send the initial notice, we see that grass exceeds 10 inches or more, we automatically send it to the cut contractor. And like last year, last summer, I can speak to this as an inspector. We had an aggressive growing season last summer. I mean, the grass was all over the place. I mean, we did not think about anything else but grass all summer long. And we're still thinking about it because I just wrote somebody up just before Christmas for high grass. It is because the water table is so high here, the grass it's just, you can look at a property and then the next week it is like, didn't I just cut this? We've got some historically where we've cut through the summer. We've cut at least 5 times, and that's through the summer. And when you have a normal grass season, when you're not having all the rain and stuff, about every 2 weeks, we will come out and take a look at the property because that's when it'll start to exceed 10 inches. But last year, it was just crazy. The grass was just crazy, and that's all we could think about was getting it cut.
Just to quickly add a couple things. So just one, I can speak from being along for many a ride with our friends from codes. If there is an opportunity, for example, if they do see a homeowner out and they identify an issue, they always try to educate the homeowner first hey, we noticed your grass is too high or something like that. There's bulk storage out there. They try to do the educational piece first. If for whatever reason, in this case, sir, you may not have been around, and so they just noted the issue in the system, and it spits out the letter. You know, we certainly attempt to notify our residents and make sure that they're aware of it. You may have just been unlucky that it happened to catch you this one time where something was a little long. That's usually not the case. Usually, as Montrez was speaking to, it's some of those vacant properties, for example, that we have to cite over and over and over again, and that's why that's that language there that says we don't need to cite you more than once a season. So
That's what I'm saying. You can say, look to see if we decided before. When's the last time? It's two different things. Okay. That means they have to be labor intensive. It can just be automatic. Hey, I never decided before. Let's send them a letter that says, hey, you grass stuff by a certain day. Okay? Or nice letter. Without this kind of city, I think you are. One more step like that for people that are don't like really doesn't like that. You go away for vacation. We could rather than you left your garden was full. You didn't get decided before you left. That's 2 weeks old, and you got a citation. And I got it, but I got that. It's not a citation, but something about it. It's something to do with it. That's the only reason I'm thinking that's decided. I like to see our city a little bit kind of gentler than what people policy.
Basically, an overview of what we do. So if anybody, and so what your code inspector, his name is David Zook. He is your area code inspector. So I did bring a stack of his cards. So if anybody wants to speak with him, because he can actually to the area for affecting.
All right. So this may be a better question for council. This may be a better question for council, but it's related to codes. You guys take the grass so seriously. Why isn't there a code related to the leaves? You know, like the McAllisters are selling their house right now. It's probably the most expensive, if not one of the most expensive, off-water homes ever to be sold in Newport News. And the neighbor who does not blow or clean up any of their leaves, their leaves are blowing over to the McAllisters' house every single day, and they're having to pay their crews to come out and maintain that yard because the renter that lives across from them won't do anything to maintain their leaves. Like, how is that not something that you guys are focused on?
That's language that is way above my head. The only thing I can do is enforce what is actually in the code. The code is our Bible. We can't add to or take away from it.
I don't know how. I've not seen what has gone into the process for the tall grass or the trees or the vehicles. I've not seen what took place before that language came out, but that's something I'll take back and ask that question, because I think that is a good point. I mean, if we have tall grass, the leaves could be just
And thank you, Councilman. We did hear from Public Works that because of the odd weather pattern and trying to do better on the leaves, that they basically weren't enforcing citations for raking stuff to the road, which normally would be a compliance issue, right?
Well, not for us, because we don't enforce the leaves. We enforce the grass, we enforce trash, we enforce the trees. If the trees are dead or dying or diseased, or if it falls over, we enforce that because that falls under our debris ordinance. But the leaves fortunately don't fall under the debris ordinance.
It's on the right of way.
The right of way.
They take it on.
I get it. Okay.
But like, if you got leaves all over your yard, we're not gonna cite you for not raking your leaves. But if you got dead and dying tree limbs, if your tree is dead, oh, I'm gonna get you.
Okay. Any other, where are we? Any other questions on?
One issue, if visually you don't care about leaves in your yard and it doesn't bother you, I personally think it makes the whole community better when people keep these aging houses. We live in an older community. It takes a lot of effort to keep it all going. We're not new construction. We're not new lawns. But I think from a standpoint of public works and safety, the drainage issues are so impacted by the fact that you have leaves lying around or debris lying around, and you can see it during heavy rains. You can see how there are areas that actually tend to flood as a result of people not getting the leaves out of their gutters and taking care of what is a high maintenance area. I mean, there's no doubt about it. So that's just my comment.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Let's see, I was gonna, before we get to traffic calming, slide 7, please. This is another topic that we've covered in previous meetings. Good news all around on both of them. As everyone knows, the Lions Bridge project isn't complete, but it's beautiful and it's passable now and paved and everything. And also I somehow missed that in the process of simultaneously while the city was working on the Lions Bridge was that we were making progress on Martha's Way. I don't know if any of you remember the presentations from Royden and the Mariners Museum on Martha's Way, but the path is going in. The city did what they could on widening the road. That's the on the far right picture is where the right of way was squeezed out as much as it possibly could be to serve as the entrance into the next picture on the left, which is the rest of Martha's Way. Farther down the line, the plan for the Mariners Museum and Royden is to put in 2 overlooks off of that. I don't know if you're familiar with all that, but all that is great progress. And I don't know if we don't need, if anybody wants to make a comment on that, feel free. I don't know, from the city. So, okay. So, and now on to slide 3, please. You may have heard on Facebook, or you may have gotten a letter in the mail if you live along Country Club, that the Country Club is under review for potential traffic calming. We have a representative here to take your questions, concerns. She provided these 2 slides. So can you want to explain them, or so the traffic study was conducted, which is an early step in the process.
Yes, sir. The traffic study was conducted. Country Club qualified in all aspects for traffic calming. The predominant we look at, it's 8 miles over the posted speed limit, which is 25 miles per hour posted. So you qualify for traffic calming when you hit speeds of 33 and above, and an 85th percentile of that. So that is 85% of your traffic is going that or below that 85th percentile. So your 85th is 34 and 35 miles per hour. That is the main qualifier. Housing density is easy to meet. A local street is already defined. 25 miles per hour posted. So some of your concerns were, why are you even looking at doing traffic calming on Country Club? because over the years, we have done studies. This is the first time that we had a group of people that got it to the petition stage and were willing to work with, you know, their folks along Country Club to try to make a difference. So, sure, give me your questions. Because yes, Country Club qualifies.
Could you quickly, briefly explain the process of the petition and then who the people are that would be involved in the decision as to what the solution would be?
The petition is basically the streets along, the folks, we had a couple of different citizens request the traffic calming. So once we had done that initial study and that it qualified, those addresses from the part of the corridor of Country Club from Museum to Dogwood, the folks that had requested it were put on the petition, and they were the folks that are required to walk around only on Country Club.
Only people on Country Club?
In the beginning, only people on Country Club. The next step after, if these people are lucky enough to get a few homes, it's like maybe 20 or so. If they get this petition signed, we do the meetings to where you develop a task force. So the folks right there, they work to figure out what they want to do. Speed humps, pavement markings to narrow the street. After that, and they have to get on a task force, and we as the city work with them to come up with the solution. Anybody on that petition?
I need some clarification on what defines Country Club, because our address is Selden, but we're on Country Club. We're on the corner of Selden and Country Club. If it stopped at Dogwood, if it was Museum to Dogwood, we were not. We're in front of the school.
Yeah, it's not all the way down.
So
Because we need say if you want to be a part of that. Okay. Okay. If I give you a card, will you contact me and I will see you?
Because right there in front of the school, it is a problem.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't know this whole thing. I'll be about this. Okay.
All right, so the petition, there's 27 homes on the petition, and you only need 21 to agree to it. And Country Club's a feeder for 863 homes. And so 21 people are going to decide how 863 of us have to live, work, and serve in this neighborhood. That's what you're saying. Yeah,
Because all of this goes to city council and to city management. Cleon, I believe, are you Cleon? I think you actually questioned traffic calming as well because your constituents came to you and asked for it. So you, in addition, asked engineering to look into it. So yes, sir, potentially those people along Country Club do get to decide on that. There will be signs that go up if they are successful in obtaining 21 signatures, and those signatures get verified. And what I mean, we do have to check to make sure that you actually signed the petition, because those people are the ones that are impacted by that traffic. All the folks going down Country Club have to do,
slow down when you cross a speed hump, if they get one, and then when you get on your street, you can speed up if you so desire. But you shouldn't do it on country club.
Couple of people I've talked to, Lita, I've been there 30 years. A couple of people I've talked to that want the speed limit, well, monitor what's going on in speed humps. They want people not to speed through there so they won't hit their kids on the illegal golf carts driving through there. They're 13 years old with no driver's license, doing 30 at night with no lights. So I get it. Slow down so you don't run over the illegals. Okay. So what about I don't have a problem with golf carts. I'm all for kids doing whatever they want to do. But why put speed humps on a road to protect the golf cart kids because their mom and dads don't want them run over at midnight riding down the road?
Okay. And I, like you, have a real problem with 21 people being able to decide whether all of us have to go over those speed bumps. And I don't mind calming of traffic. I am an advocate of that. But I go over 5 speed bumps every day to go to my girlfriend's house and 5 speed bumps to come back to my house. Okay? The front end of my car and the rear end of my car are going to go out way before anybody else's in the city do. Even though I slow down to well below 10 miles per hour on every single one of those bumps. And so I'm an advocate of speed calming, but for what you're doing is you're making 85% of us that are doing almost okay, staying under 33 miles per hour, and forcing us all to slow down and have our cars damaged for the 15% of the people that can't be controlled. Okay? What's to say that we do something to control those 15% of the people? Find some way by the city to get that done. We know some of the people that are doing it, because people in here know people that follow them and see them, go to their houses after going through there very quickly. That's the people that should be having to suffer, not me, not for having to pay additional repairs to my car, not for me to have to slow down to 10 miles per hour when legally I should be able to go over that at 25 miles per hour because that's what your speed limit is.
So John, thank you. Question is, Damaris, provide the feedback and, so what is the mechanism right now, Damaris, to get feedback from obviously the folks that were in the petition area, but sounds like other residents that have concerns about it one way or the other? What's the mechanism? Is there, you talked about handing out your card. That's certainly one way to provide input. Obviously, folks can always contact 311. Is there a formal mechanism for folks, including concerned residents here in this room tonight, to provide feedback on what is being considered?
There is a second part of this. It's where once the folks move through all of this, the signs that go up, it is a number that you call to 311. You provide that input, your concern that you're going to damage your car driving 25 miles per hour over a speed hump. The speed humps are actually designed for that, and it has been. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Oh, it's okay, sir. I understand.
Councilman Coleman.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Rob Coleman. I'm your new council member here in the Central District. It's very nice to meet all of you. I apologize for being tardy. I was over seeing you with the Sheriff's Office promotion ceremony, and I was welcoming all of our new promotees. So I've got a little experience with traffic calming. In 2012, when I was on council the first time, we dealt with Maxwell Lane, and that was a big whoop-de-doo. You probably remember that, right? And it was a whole process. I mean, there was competing petitions, and there was people who wanted the traffic calming, and there were people who didn't want the traffic calming, and they were literally across the street from each other getting petitions signed while people were driving through the intersection of Normandy and Maxwell. Ultimately, there was a lot of people who came to council. They were for it. They were against it. One of the big against it was that the Wharf Yacht Club is at the end of Maxwell Lane. They had their trailers that they were pulling down the road, and they could damage their boats, their trailers. Also, the other issues you're talking about with your own vehicles going over those bumps. So we discussed it, and we came up with some other options. You know, we did enhanced enforcement on Maxwell. So now a speeding ticket there is $200 on Maxwell Lane, right? Also, we had officers out there that were doing enhanced enforcement, and they would plan out there. And I think the LT and the SARS can tell you, boy, they were writing a lot of summonses out there for a while. But I now know, you know, we have a shortage of officers, so we just can't really dedicate someone to sit on a street and write summonses now. But there is a process to this. I think everyone needs to consider the concerns of the folks who live on the road, and also consider the people who live on the side streets of that area as well. I think there's a way to mitigate this and make it safe for everyone. So I think if we just go into this with an open mind, I think we can make it happen.
I agree with you. I don't think that having a one solution of saying, oh, speed humps are the answer, or this is the answer, but I'm looking at the number 69. I'm sorry, that's unacceptable. I think everybody in this room can agree with that. And I see it every day, whether people, I don't know if they're always going 69, but they are blazing down the street. I live, like I said, I live on Southern Country Club. My father lives directly on Country Club. We walk down there and we fear for our lives on a regular basis. And so what I'm hearing is that there's a lot of resistance to even considering what this committee can do. I don't think that there's an answer that's going to happen tonight.
I would disagree with you. I think that I live at the corner also on Country Club. I don't think anyone really disagrees that there's a speeding problem. I mean, which there is seriously, there's really no enforcement. And what a lot of people here are upset about is that it's going to affect many more people. If no matter what kind of calming procedures you do, it's going to affect people throughout the neighborhood, because it's going to speed bumps are going to reroute people. So they're just going to start, zooming down over to Riverside Drive or whatever. So that's why so many of us in this neighborhood are being left out of this process, are upset about it. We're not going to have a voice, and whatever. I mean, it's just these 21 people, it sounds like. And I think he had his hand up.
I'm getting tired, Tom.
Yeah, that's my biggest. There's not a person in this room that doesn't think there's speeding going on Country Club and that it's a problem. The problem, though, is you start putting speed humps along Country Club, it's going to divert that traffic. That's what happened on Deep Creek. You ask anybody that lives on the feeder streets along Deep Creek, people use the other lane. So you're going to start using Parkwood, Central, Dogwood. Then you're going to go over to Riverside Drive, down the most expensive properties in all of Newport News, driving 69 miles an hour. My biggest concern is there's been no enforcement. I filed a FOIA request in December, asking for traffic citation data for every street in Riverside, minus Shoe and Avenue of the Arts, knowing CNU students would make those numbers skewed. Not a single traffic citation was written in our neighborhood last year. Not one. Not a single one. Not a stop sign violation, not a speeding violation. So if we've got that data saying that they're speeding here and we're doing nothing to enforce it, why are we jumping to putting in permanent speed bumps that are going to cause traffic diversion? It's going to cause the ambulances and fire trucks to have to slow down as they're coming to rescue our aging citizens. It's going to cause wear and tear on our vehicles, and the city's doing nothing to enforce it.
I think that speed humps are like, it feels like there has been a lot of discussion about the speed humps and people feeling like, and I do understand feeling like nobody has a true voice in this. So I need to know, as a resident, as our relative, what does this traffic calming, in simple terms, right now, what does that mean? Right, for tomorrow.
For tomorrow? Like, you don't get nothing tomorrow. You don't even get nothing.
No. But the foreseeable course of action.
But there is the possibility that speed humps would not be the chosen design. We can do this, and we've been working toward doing things in a phased way. One of the streets we're working on now is Terrace. We're going to actually Terrace and Willow. These are streets that rather than them opting for a speed hump right off the bat, they opted to do something more of a Maxwell lane, to try a road diet, to narrow. There are many other options other than just speed humps. You have chicanes, which would not be an option for out here, which is the S move. You have the little medians that you can, like on Rich Neck Road, where you actually divide the traffic into 2 lanes. You have bump outs, curb bump outs that create like a narrower when you're coming up to an intersection and that curb bumps out. When you have curb and gutter, that's an easy solution. That's not easy. Nothing is actually easy. All things you have to consider your drainage and all of your other engineering issues. So speed humps may not be what the committee works toward. They may want to try a phased solution and try something simpler, like more signage, additional things. Before they get to that point, we call that phase 1. And then maybe after 6 months or so, if you haven't seen an improvement, or a year, if you have not seen that improvement that you need, then we look at something more restrictive like that physical improvement, such as a speed hump.
In the meantime, as we start to, I know you guys are short-handed, I do, but it's.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. But like, we're
Hopefully when he comes here and I happen to be here next year, we'll have some summons that have been issued. Yeah,
I'm guaranteed by tomorrow we'll have 16.
And it's just our traffic control office a good time. They're used to the time.
Several points. First, there's speed bumps and there's speed bumps. So on Moore's Lane, there's speed bumps, and you can go 25 miles an hour over them without damage to your car. But on Cedar, there are 2 speed bumps that are the most extreme that I've encountered in the city. And if you go over 25 miles an hour in those speed bumps, there's severe damage. Second point, if the road is listed for 25 miles an hour and you're making me, who is going 25 miles an hour, slow down to 15 miles an hour, then I am being penalized, and yet I'm not violating the law. So that's wrong. And third, there are a lot of ways that you can slow traffic other than speed bumps. On the expressways, on the margin, there's some way of automatically impressing the asphalt, and it's uncomfortable to go over that, and so you slow down. It's alerting you that you're going off the lane, but it also causes you to slow down. So there's alternatives to speed bumps. If you can do something that makes a person uncomfortable going over the speed limit, but not make them uncomfortable at the speed limit, I'm all in favor of it.
My understanding, and the councilman maybe can answer this, Virginia has approved traffic or speeding cameras for school zones only, but not regular speed cameras.
Yeah, I know schools and construction areas, you can have speed cameras.
And we happen to have a school right there on Country Club. And I know York County just have them, but are there any in our city?
Yeah, so I don't think so. I mean, no, I don't think currently. I know I was at the county meeting when they adopted that policy, and they did a test run in front of York High School, and I think that week they had 3,000 violations that week, literally. So yeah, they put those cameras up pretty quickly. I'm not sure about, because that is a major thoroughfare there. That's 17. That's Route 17. I'm not quite sure if you're going to be able to get a traffic camera within a residential neighborhood in front of a school. I would have to do some research on that.
And that's because of policy or because it's not technical constraint?
Well, I can tell you from the camera side of the companies who run these camera companies, they want to make money at the end of the day.
And we want to penalize people more.
Yes.
Okay.
They're not going to make enough money. That's the problem.
Now, the So they do have speeding cameras in Hampton going towards Langley, and so that's right in a residential type location, and it is effective. My husband, in fact, before he retired from Langley, got a warning that he was speeding in the school zone. So it is possible, and because we have all of these neighboring cities in 757, just collaborated with the different council members to see, like, how did you get that accomplished, and what. Because I know that all the cities are having the same problem. We work and live in all the different areas. And so it's an easy slam dunk just to have those connections to see what's working for those cities and how we can accomplish it.
First time I heard about it, that was the first thing I told him, is that you could have speed cameras there at school. I spoke to several people, and they all said, we don't want the cameras. But if I'm hearing tonight, I'm hearing people would rather have cameras out there. I mean, it's something to look into. I mean, we don't have any speed cameras anywhere in the city. So this would be the first if it was to be. This is not something.
I think it's a state issue. I think it's an ability to be able to enforce the speed limit because it's against the car and not an individual. Okay? And, yeah.
There are streets in the city that people can complain about. There's no school, there's no street mechanism for that street. The Riverside Elementary School being there would be, I understand it. I would have to talk to the city lawyer to make sure I'm right about that. But
I would like to encourage city council in our city to advocate for the use of that kind of stuff in our city. Because we have a problem with city use, not just road. Every road except for Deep Creek, because we have 7 speed bumps on Deep Creek. Okay? And you go down Deep Creek often enough, you'll see speed bumps too. So that density of speed bumps nowhere else in the city of Newport News.
The gate, and there are 5 on Gatewood. There are 5 on the new Gatewood, and they are brutal.
That and
so Deep Creek would not fall in. That would be a state action to allow for speed cameras in the state of Virginia.
That's what I'm saying. I would like the city to advocate because it's something our city needs. Now there are other people because it's and one of the reasons they may have taken down in some places is because they kept the information for a longer period of time, and people complained to LCU or whatever it is, complained that they were holding the information and data and using it for other reasons too. And so that's what those cities were not, Arlington, those kinds of things. But I'm for it.
Something I'm asked about. That issue has come up. You wanted residents fearful of the crime.
Understand it. Well, dump the information every 6 weeks or 2 weeks or every other night. I don't care.
So to wrap this has been a great conversation. To wrap this subject up, where are we on the step-by-step process? If you can see it from here, or you have it in here.
You have you haven't made it past. Really, you haven't made it past.
We certainly haven't formed a task force, which is number 7.
We're getting ready to have it the 28th because someone was upset that I did it too quickly and mailed it out too fast. Well, I actually was trying to work with some of our people at City Hall, and they had kind of wanted it to happen. So when I made it happen, then everyone else was unhappy. Sir, I agree, sir, and I actually reserved the school. How about that? And the school didn't have it open. So it was supposed.
We're going to have another meeting. I haven't heard of it.
You're getting ready to get a letter. Thank you so much. We are getting ready to do another letter can't really see that. So we're getting ready to do, but we do not have. Now, see, this is where we're out of step. Usually engineering likes to get a completed petition. One, the 75%, I have verified that the people that are on that petition want the traffic calming, and then I do a neighborhood meeting. We were requested by the citizens because when that letter goes out to the person that requested traffic calming, they are given the option to have a neighborhood meeting first to reach out to people like you to try to get your help in solving the problem. Unfortunately, some folks may prefer the other way, which is to have the completed petition with all the signatures verified, then you have your meeting. So we did have the meeting before the 75% complete petition, only because the residents desired it. So yes, we are getting ready to have a second meeting. We still do not have 75% participation, but I'm going to conduct the meeting in hopes that people will attend, listen to the presentation, sign the petition if they want to, because the folks that started it will be there. I'm hoping Cleon will attend this one. I know my police officers will be there this time so that they can address your concerns with speeding or your concerns with signage and the electronic signs, because there are some discussions going on up in the state about the signs. Right now, it's not a perfect world, but we're it's by letter. It's by letter. It goes out by email, people that I have an email for. But a letter is mailed out to the people that are on the petition, because right now they are the folks that are affected by what's going on. Yes, sir. Yes. Until we get those. Absolutely.
Who are the 27? Which streets?
It starts at Museum and goes to Dogwood.
Why?
Because those were the folks that requested it.
But they couldn't get enough people to sign the petition. They reduced the size of the link, so that you get possibly 5% right off on it. The reason that they reduced down. Tell me that.
But it's only people who front country club or who driveways front country club.
It's for people who front country club and their driveways dump out.
So you're excluding all those people between Sioux and Dogwood?
Yes. And those.
That is going to cover that portion of the job.
Okay, so are residents of the general neighborhood permitted to attend the 28th?
Absolutely.
Okay, so
It gets posted on your little pages, your next door or something. Jen Williams and Mr. Washington, I think, can post it out there on next door. I can let John know, and then I'm doing it at the school. I'll just let them to know to expect 100 people instead of 30.
okay.
Question about the dating here.
Absolutely.
Basically, what you're saying here is that 85% of people are under 35. 15% of people are over. That's that 85th percentile.
Yes, sir.
Right? Now, the average speed is 20 miles, which really 29 miles an hour. Not bad at all. Okay. And how many of the people were below the speed limit? What percent? I mean, that would give us a clue to how many people actually break the law. What we're saying is that 85% of them are below 35. We really could do that. 35 miles per hour. Want to do that area? Really wouldn't be here. if People were all under 35. And what time is it at? Right. That doesn't, you're trying on the person who was 65, 69, you know, or all the people that are going more than 35 miles an hour speed limit, this all happened at a certain time of day, can be resolved by a person, police officer.
I take a walk every morning around 7 o'clock, and the traffic is horrific. At 7 in the morning, people are just speeding down the road. So I would say, if you want to find somebody that's going 70 miles an hour, try 7 o'clock in the morning.
Sure. Could you put a traffic, speed trail out there and see what times of day that you have the higher traffic?
You want to put the speed trailer up? Usually do it for a week. Once we get the information, the data comes back, and then we put the officers appropriately the times, the highest speeds. That's what we usually do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right in front of the Yep. Okay, so great conversation. Thank you very much. We're going to, you can revisit that on the 28th at Riverside Elementary. On to the gentleman in blue here for your annual Central District report. Did you?
Yeah, I've got a little bit. Okay. That was a heated discussion. I didn't expect all that, but that's fine. So for the year, I had some stats pulled up, and we had in this area 3 thefts from vehicles, 2 burglaries, and 2 larcenies. That's for the entire year. So with that said, I will say the trend right now we've had in the last month. Unfortunately, if anybody owns a Kia, there's a trend going on where the windows are being busted out, the ignition is being damaged. A lot of times the vehicles are not being stolen because there are amateurs who are doing it, which are juveniles. We have identified a group of individuals doing it throughout the city and also in Hampton. Hampton just made an arrest on some of those juveniles this past week, but we are doing actually operations in Central Precinct to try to catch these individuals doing it. It's usually between the times of 4 a.m. and 7 a.m. is when it's happening. So that is a trend that y'all need to know about. I own a Kia. My daughter has a 2007. I'm going to need a club for it because that's how prevalent it's happening right now. It's a defect in the ignition, and they are being able to defeat it and take the vehicle. So I want you to be aware of that.
Thank you.
Questions.
And the 2 times my newspaper got stolen, I did not report it.
I appreciate it. We really don't need those stats, so thank you.
I did post it on Facebook, and it had like 500 views in our neighborhood.
The 2 burglaries, there was actually a third attempted in the same week, because I know the family, the person climbed on their roof and tried to open their second-story window. Mimosa was the attempted. The guy jumped off their roof, fell through their trash can, and ran off. They were trying to open the upstairs windows when they were home. Thankfully, he had a firearm. Was that person ever caught, the person who broke into those 2 homes? Uh-huh. Okay. And the comment, I know I FOIA'd you and you have no arrest, but on a positive to you guys, I have a sleepless baby who's teething, and he only sleeps in the back of my truck, thankfully. And so I'm driving around from like 2 to 4, and I do see you guys throughout our neighborhood every night. So I appreciate you guys being here. I've stopped a few times to let you guys know I'm not a bad guy as I'm driving around doing all this.
People who do complain. Understand, the people who complain, sometimes we do issue summonses to people who brought it to our attention and family members. So I'm just saying that out there. I'm not going to be so prevalent to do I would like to do 8 or over. I think that's good for people. Do you agree? Not 2, not 3 over. I'm talking about 8 or over. So those are going to be our instructions to our officers. When we get the data certified, and you will start seeing officers at the times where those people are speeding the most on that street.
Friends of mine that are on the corner of Museum and Riverside say that the traffic around that corner is just flying through at nighttime. And so they're not here represented. I just thought you should know that that's a spot really that needs to be checked.
I want to start on obviously Country Club's the big one, but it's the parallel roads that run with it. I mean, Mimosa is horrific. Parkway is horrific. 100 block of Parkway. I mean, they drive like it's on the interstate, and it's probably not people that even live here. It's people passing through to get to Hilton or the Shipyard. But we had a meeting at 1 o'clock, meeting the chief, department wide every Thursday. So he just brought up, and I know Lieutenant Johnson is probably going to be happy about this, is where he works for special operations. He wants to bring a traffic team in, which we have been missing for a couple of years now. Hopefully those individuals also be on motorcycles, and we haven't had that probably in the last 2 years. And you can see people driving every day, whether you're in your personal car or not. People are out of control, driving, whether it be in our city and other cities as well. So we're dealing with a huge problem.
Can I ask a real quick question? When the bridge was closed, was speeding still going on?
Not nearly as much.
But the college was out. So I was just wondering if that was an indicator if it was people in the neighborhood speeding all over the place, or was it people just flying through the neighborhood?
Summertime too, so there's less traffic.
The college was out also. The college was out. Okay.
But Rob, to that point, I mean, I think I live on the block way, and I walk constantly. I think it was reduced when the bridge was closed significantly. And those that are delinquent, constantly causing this issue who live here, it's the same people. Like the same cars that come up Parkway going 100 miles an hour, the same people every single day. We've all sped out of here at some point in time, I'm sure. And I'm going to be the first to get a ticket now. But it's like this. But like on the 100 block of Parkway, I know who they are every single day. When I'm walking my dog at 7 in the morning, I know who they are. I see them coming, and I just get out of the way so I don't get mowed over.
Yeah, so on your point, one of the biggest advocates for not doing any traffic calming originally, and he was happy with the resolution we did with enhanced enforcement. He was one of the first ones to get a ticket under enhanced enforcement and came back to council and complained about it. It was a $200 ticket. And so
we do have that also, just so y'all know, in Kiln Creek. They do have an enhanced fines there as well. And we do issue tickets under that code as well.
I want to thank you for behalf of the RCCA of the enhanced presence you've had at the beach. Bottom right-hand corner there's a timestamp on that. I can't read it. What time of night was that? So. It's what?
Under the speed limit. For NMPD.
So
I appreciate your comments, though. I mean, I'm tired of it too. I want something done as well. So the first thing on my mind will be getting enforcement on that street at least. Right. And you want to bring donuts or some cocktails? Well, all for it. Okay. You're right. We're staying up all night probably.
All right. Well, thank you very much. If there are no questions from anyone on Zoom, I assume. I don't know anyone on Zoom. Okay. And that, for those of you, I mean, surely somebody wants to go watch the Orange Bowl, right? So, so that concludes the public community forum. We'll reconvene at 8:30 for a membership meeting. Help yourself to water, coffee, cookies, cheese and crackers. Thank you. A lot of pain. Anybody left on Zoom?
I lost the screen.
once I activated the PowerPoint, it disappeared. Don't know where.
Oh, it might be gone. Oh, it's presented.
Are you guys muted?
Yeah. It's,
Oh, that's clear. Yeah, some of the people got that two the bringer.
That's why I
Yeah, I just texted Matt to see if you
Yo,
guys
you're
were.
on.
Yeah, I
Sorry,
am.
we did something with the screen and like we can't see you now. So we can't tell that you're on, and I'm on my cell phone and it's all a mess. And we're about to, this meeting is just going to be a couple of minutes and we'll call it a night because no one's here except for board members and the Goonies. So did you move into the neighborhood or just recently? Or no?
$10. Oh, any amount you like, but yeah, you can become a member without a problem.
We can, there's our treasurer. Our membership person is on Zoom. You can Venmo us if you counts. Venmo. It's so these are everyone here except for you all are you three are board members. So there is no quorum. There is and as you know, the bylaws require an annual meeting. It requires the only business that has to be conducted at the annual meeting are committee reviews of and those are our committees right now. Really, it just has to be the treasurer's review. And but do you guys have you looked at our here? I'll flash the treasurer's report. So that screen says that we're active. We're current with the IRS. This screen says we are current with the State Corporation Commission. This is our treasurer's report. Our treasurer's busy. You can see that we, well, I don't know. What am I going to say? That's the treasurer. There's nobody here to brief this, so we are saying we have briefed it. It's his cell phone isn't working without a signal. I assume that but that's the problem.
Hey, Matt,
That just makes me really sad.
you gonna do something about those leaves? You have to call the city on you?
You leave them.
And I can say, drop the first.
Oh, so you do it through.
No, never. Well, that's.
Oh, somebody paid
So
it.
you don't do it through Venmo.
Yeah. Oh, no, it's Venmo. Yeah. So, so it pops up on mine. Are you, do
I'm gonna say no name.
you have a good, and you have a 5G signal. Why is it not working?
The ink is still wet on this bill.
I just want to at least get in my hand.
Say something about the air.
Picking up.
I think that's piece of
Yeah, did you done though?
No.
Okay.
Get money.
Yep, it'll be in the newsletter.
Get like a letter, because I know in my old neighborhood,
Yeah, that works. It works.
So you want to get the newsletter 4 times a year. So this tells you, what, how much. Yeah.
We had a thing, but we just paid the thing out. There was no choice.
Yeah, no, this is all voluntary, that's why.
Well, it was.
Bi-monthly, twice a month, or no. Welcome to attend. We're recruiting board
So you're playing that city council part.
Yeah.
Where did you end up? Where are you living?
A lot of speeding on Butler Place.
So is it safe to say, so we aren't going to do any of our reports?
Zooming at all, or is
We are,
Tracy-
let me see what we're,
This needs to not be zooming.
who?
Are we zooming? Tracy asked me, she said, are you guys muted? And I left.
Okay. Tracy, you there?
Yes.
Oh, there.
Okay. So we are basically we're gonna quickly vote for officer or members of the board, which is everyone continuing, all 9 of us, and all in favor.
Yes.
And then the first thing that the new board membership, as per our bylaws, does is elect officers.
Congratulations, President Johnson.
No.
It's like,
Mutiny.
So, yeah, so yeah, and I guess I could, we just have you on the phone, on the Zoom. So does anyone want to be president?
Probably not.
Anybody want to be vice president?
I'll say it.
Treasurer, secretary, membership secretary?
I'll stay.
You don't want to bump anybody off their welcoming committee?
absolutely.
Communications goddess?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that ends our official business for this here meeting. We can go watch the second half of the football game.
That's about it, John.
Yeah.
It's not easy.
Really? No kidding.
Yeah, good workout.
Always prevail.
Shape for this. That's why.
I was telling Stu, I don't think we should do the Zoom anymore.
Yeah, I agree.
Last year for the Zoom.
Yeah, it's not fair.
It's too much.
If they want to be a part of it, they can come.
I agree. You got that,
That's the
Tracy?
end of it.
And I've been paying for the membership myself, and this is a good excuse to cancel it.
Yeah.
So, and then if we ever do it for board meetings, then the free version is like limited to like 45 minutes. So that'll work too. So, but
It's like, oh,
and like the paid version, this was also live streamed to Facebook or to YouTube, and it's archived on YouTube. So if anybody wants to see me stumbling and bumbling, there are 4 previous years on there. And so I can delete those, but it is an archive. And so, it's run its course. So that's cool. All right. Well, and our budget, our first meeting of the year is always the February meeting. It's the budget meeting. Mac May, he met with your husband.
yeah, he did.
We might.
That's great response from my volunteers, let me tell you.
I did.
He showed up, I called, and he showed up at the meeting.
This is a dog. I don't know if you realize it. As a dog.
So you can't quite see there, but that tree ended up tearing up part of the wall, and then to the far right of the picture, that embankment is it's in jeopardy. And so Mac recognized that and called in some professional help, and maybe we'll have
Got some ideas. He's going to talk to a construction company that he knows, and we've already got a pretty good idea how to do it. That's some idea. We're moving in the right direction. So we'll put a budget together, have that available for the first part of the year. So maybe February meeting, I guess. So probably maybe I can get a budget together by then. That's the highest priority in my mind we have right now, because that protects our full everything. That's just very.
Yeah, and it entails, and Mac was showing me, it entails like a solution for the wood, but also, like I said, in the far right-hand corner, there's nothing there, and then there's the painted wall. So it would be protecting that void right now,
Right.
and then continuing it along. And okay, so all right.
What's the meeting in February? The next meeting?
The 4th.
Thursday. That work?
Is there a
1, 2. It's always 4 Thursdays.
27th.
Yeah. Even if it's the first day.
There's always. A leap year, there can be 5. If the first is a Thursday.
Right.
This aren't.
What do you got?
27.
All right. Well,
You see, I got 500, I've got a check and some cash that I'm just gonna give to Mac, okay?
Yeah,
For dues that were turned in today.
okay.
Virginia Wilson.
Yeah.
She called me on the phone, tried to be a voting member for tonight's
She
vote.
was a voting member because she did pay for last year.
Oh, I wish I would have told her that.
But she paid for next year too, or this year now, so.
I didn't,
Anyway.
well,
Cleon,
she called me first and wanted me to extend her grace period. And I said, I cannot make that call. There's a deadline.
Yeah.
So,
Even $500 doesn't buy a vote for us.
right.
And then, and when we need to get,
I will put it on my list.
we need to get
I know.
a copy of the newsletter in Cleon's hands so he sees that he doesn't want to be a $10 member.
Really?
To show that here's the one that we really appreciate. And then back here,
There's the house that was next to Dr. Snyder's house, the vacant lot forever that they built a spec house, I think, and then somebody bought it. They joined at $10.
Do you want the proxies? What do you want to do with these proxies?
I have them in a file.
Maybe after this year. It's like good recycling.
And here's You want the list?
Sure.
This list that we used? Alrighty then.
All right. Thank you, everyone. And thank you, Pastor Fred.
Thank you. What's the,
Talk about insurance in the February meeting.
Oh, yeah, everyone think about, we didn't renew D&O insurance because we think it's not needed, because we were paying for protection that it didn't really provide for us. And I have, in past years, when we briefed the treasurer's report, I have said D&O insurance protects the board if you want to be a board member. It doesn't. So what we will present in February is estimates for liability insurance, which is what we should have been doing. So, all right, Tracy, we're hanging up.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep. Can't wait to see y'all in person
Very good. Thanks.
for
Bye.
the next 4
You put 'em in the
years.
freezer.
For the next 4 years.
4 years. That's